Hi, and welcome to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Taarika Foundation focused on youth mental health. Before we begin today's episode, I just wanted to let you all know that all content that is found in our podcast is created for informational purposes only. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or therapy. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard in this podcast. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, everyone. We are back on Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving. Today, we are going to be talking about the importance of counseling and getting help. It's often coming to terms with the fact that we are struggling emotionally and mentally becomes difficult for a lot of us. And at times, even if we are able to accept it, the next step, which is actually getting help or maybe visiting a therapist, can become another obstacle, as one might feel hesitant, in telling others that they actually need help. Today, we will be talking to Ananya, an undergrad student from India, on coming to terms with mental health struggles and visiting help. Hi, Ananya. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Ananya Rasdan. I am 19 years old and I'm doing my majors in applied psychology from Delhi University, India.
Welcome, Ananya. It's so nice to have you.
So
So,
nice to have.
I would like to ask you, how did you come to terms, with the fact that you were struggling mentally, and who did you reach out to first?
Okay, so when it comes to coming in terms with my mental health, or you say bad mental health, so that would be the change in my behavior and the hindrance it was creating in my daily life activities. So that was a point at which I had to come in terms with my bad mental health issues. And my best friend would be the first person that I reached out to. And then after her support, her motivation, I could also reach out to my parents.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful that you had such a friend, that you could reach out to. That's very fortunate. And would you like to tell us how was your experience, generally in therapy? How did you feel visiting? Were you hesitant at first? How was the whole experience?
Definitely reaching out to a therapist and reaching out for help is requires a lot of courage at first. So it is very difficult task to actually reach out for help at first. But then when you actually get into the process of healing, you start understanding your patterns of behavior, and you get kind of a clarity of thought, and even for a temporary kind of time, you start to heal yourself, and that actually creates a motivation or a push that you're actually healing from that. So that was my experience with therapy at first.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. So, could you tell us some basic habits that you changed, or was there any change in lifestyle once you started visiting therapy?
Yeah, sure. So I had a generalized anxiety disorder. So that was creating a huge hindrance in my daily life, in my lifestyle and my sleep schedule and everything like that. So I had a lot of intrusive thoughts, and my sleep schedule was really bad at that time due to anxiety and panic that was setting in general. So after going for therapy, my intrusive thoughts were reduced. It helped me combating the anxiety. It helped me combating the panic that was setting in. And when the panic did set in, I had the solution in my hand. I had the techniques in my hand that my therapist would suggest. So it really helped me through my daily life.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. We're glad that therapy helped you, and I think this will motivate, a lot of other people to also visit therapists and actually seek help, because if it helped you, I'm sure it will help a lot of others as well.
Right.
So, Lanya, when exactly did you start experiencing, a change in your mental health once you started visiting therapy? Was it like a month? Did it take a week, month, year? How long did it take for you?
I would say it took me around a month. So I would take sessions every week, like one session every week. So 4 to 5 sessions. After that, I would I was really able to put my understanding and everything that my therapist would make me understand, put that understanding into action. So it took me around a month or more.
Okay, nice. So, Ananya, are you still meeting with your therapist, or now you feel that you have reached a point where you do not need help anymore and that you have relatively healed?
So I feel in the anxiety and panic problem issues, I don't feel that I need a therapist on a daily basis. But for some clarity of thoughts, a better lifestyle, a better mental health, I feel that having a disease is not a reason to visit a therapist. So I do see my therapist occasionally when I feel the need that I need some clarity of thought, I need help in some issues that I am not able to understand my patterns, I'm not able to understand that how to put this thing into action. So I do meet my therapist according to that.
Right. I think you mentioned a very important thing here that we do not just need to visit a therapist when we are on the verge of absolutely collapsing. Even, everyday struggles can be solved if we actually visit them, once in a while and just get try to understand how to solve daily problems that we might be facing, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. I would like to know if there were, any valuable lessons that you learned from your therapist. Anything she said that really struck you and really you kept with you.
Definitely. So, only one thing that actually stuck with me, and every day I am, kind of putting it to use in everything. So, what she said to me was like, behave like what you are. I mean, if you are an intern, behave like an intern. If you are a daughter, behave like a daughter with your mother or your father. Don't put extra pressure on yourself that you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to take up a lot of responsibilities when those are not yours. I was very overwhelmed with my work and I could not have a work life balance when I am just an intern. I used to take a lot of pressure from my work. I used to take a lot of responsibility, which I understood later on that was not even mine. I was bound to make mistakes as an intern. I was bound to explore things, but I could not do that because I felt that is a lot, there's a lot of responsibility on me. So that's what actually stuck with me. And today, even in every aspect, every role in life, there is point where I use this advice a lot.
Oh, that's, I think, a wonderful advice because, often in the hustle of daily life, we forget that we have to take some time out for ourselves as well. And we just get so busy in trying to become perfectionists, per se, that
True, true.
we forget that we also need time to heal. We need time for ourselves. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be okay.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. So, Ananya, now I would just like to ask you that, you visited therapy, it helped you so much. So, what would you say to someone who, is still hesitant to get help or, who might be, hesitant in sharing with their parents that they are struggling? Any advice for them?
So, visiting therapy and asking out for help needs a lot of courage. Definitely, everyone is hesitant at first. Everyone is, very afraid to face what their reality is, what is happening. So many times we are escaping the problem that we don't want to face the reality, what is happening with us. So for that, we often step back from reaching out from help, but it's all worth it at the end. And when you look back at yourself, like in the past 1 year, how much I've grown and how therapy is helping me do that. So that's all worth at the end. And reaching out for help needs a lot of courage, but still, when you would see yourself after 2 years, that will be that courage would mean a lot to you.
Okay, so I just hope that after listening to you, the listeners would actually have the courage to take that first step, because once you do that, I think you'll just have a life changing experience.
Right.
Okay, Ananya, thank you so much for giving your time to us. Thank you so much for being here. Any last words you would like to conclude by?
No, thank you so much for having me today. It was a great pleasure. And I really hope that someone who is actually struggling from this time that actually get the help. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope this podcast would help a lot of people in reaching out for help and in telling to their friends, family, whoever they are comfortable with, that they are struggling. And let's all move towards a world which is more accepting, and let's heal together. Thank you so much.
You are listening to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Taarika Foundation. As part of our youth series, we will be releasing new episodes every Friday, so make sure to continue to check those out. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and thank you so much for listening.